Like to call to order the City of Saugatuck City Council meeting for July 14th, 2025. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anderson. Here. Clark.
Here.
Dean.
Here.
Gardner.
Here.
Muncy.
Here.
Pearson. Here. Stan. Here. We have a quorum. So mayor's comments, I have been thinking a lot about how crispy people can get. We saw some of that with our 4th of July parade with some of our volunteers getting some pushback from people who were there for the day. So I thought, I want to spend some time thinking about what makes me happy and gives me hope, and all of the kindness in town. So over the weekend, I don't spend a ton of time on Facebook, but Kim Heiser, who some of you know, found a duck who had lost her babies into a sewer grate, and posted something asking for help. And it was just great how everybody sprung into action. I think the fire department came and helped. Another resident came with a net, and ducks were reunited with mama. Which reminds me of Mr. Fox, who showed me actually a photo at least a year or two ago of stopping his car to get some ducks across the road safely. And then I saw Come From Away over the weekend, and seeing the incredible outpouring of kindness and big-hearted generosity and compassion it was very moving, and always at the SCA a great show. So I'm trying to really spend time every day reflecting on that, because Lord knows we have a lot of strife in the world going on now, and but there's also a lot of kindness, and hopefully we can all channel that. And with that, Ryan?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Council. Yeah, just a couple things for me tonight. My report's in your packet, but wanted to extend a thanks again on behalf of staff for the picnic that you held. It's actually been a few weeks since your last regular meeting, so really appreciate that kind gesture, and it was good to have some great food, and all of you had excellent things, and sit down with staff and council, and just kind of have a nice afternoon at the pavilion at Mount Baldhead. It was a beautiful day, and really appreciate you all taking the time to put that together and host us. And I also wanted to, along the lines of talking about the parade and really the 4th of July weekend in general, I thank the Convention and Visitors Bureau for all of their work and planning for a fantastic weekend. Certainly unfortunate that the parade wasn't able to move forward as planned. It was kind of this perfect timing with the storm hitting exactly at the time that the parade was supposed to kick off with lightning and unfortunately, because we are reliant upon volunteers, and the CVB does a lot of work to bring volunteers in, those volunteers are only available for a certain period of time when they kind of step up to serve. And so a combination of that and their availability, if we were to delay even longer, unfortunately, led to the parade being canceled. But fantastic fireworks on Saturday night. The CVB did a fantastic job with that, and it's a huge undertaking with them and volunteers and certainly staff and all of our community partners and public safety officials. But just really want to throw out a big thank you to them, and look forward to any questions that you might have when we get to my report further in the agenda.
Thank you. It takes us to the agenda changes, and I'd like somebody to make a motion to add the Mount Baldhead Challenge special event approval to the consent agenda.
Madam
To 9I.
Madam Mayor, I would like to make a motion to add a special event, the Mount Baldhead Challenge, to item 9I.
I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we have Becky Carton Crandall here as our guest speaker. Becky, will you come to the podium? Thanks so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it.
Sure. Just like to give a little update for the interurban. We've been having some changes, and we expanded our area. So, and a lot of growth. So I would just like to report on that. May was our first month. And that also included school. School was in session, so I want to keep that in mind. Lake Town Township, we had 833 riders. That brought in an extra $5,831. Our destination stops are Modell's, Virtue Cider, Fenn Valley Winery. We had 202 riders. Our revenue from that was $1,010. And the city of Fenville, we had 335 riders. In June, it was our second month. That included 1 week of school in session. Excuse me. Lake Town Township had 1,008 riders. In June, so that's 7,056 in revenue. Destination stops, we had 215 riders. That's an extra 1,505 in revenue, and the city of Fenville had 275 riders. I also increased our fare from 7 PM to 11 PM for $3. And most of that is due to the fact that we pay a premium to our drivers of $5 an hour to work that shift. And that has brought in an extra $9,700 for those 2 months. So the May and June combined, we increased our fare revenue by 300%. For a total of $25,102. So I would say things are going well with the changes. The customers are very happy with the expansion of the area. And this year, we celebrate 45 years of service for the Interurban. And we plan on holding an open house in December or January to showcase our addition and our remodel of the bus garage. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'll keep you posted on that as well. The other news to note would be, as we all know, federal funding is decreasing. Excuse me. And our costs are increasing. Our buses used to cost $80,000. They're now costing $160,000. So I'm going to be asking for a millage increase in 2026 when our renewal is up from a $0.5 So I'm asking for another $0.5 so it'll be a total of $1 to hopefully offset some of that and continue a wonderful service that everybody uses. I think it's important to do that increase in our millage. We haven't increased our millage since we started
45 years ago?
45 years. Yes. In fact, we were at $1 the first 5 years and then it got decreased to $0.5. I'm not sure how that, got brought up, but anyhow, so yes, we have not increased. And we have to do it to survive. So anyhow, any questions?
Russ?
Yes, thank you, Mary Anderson. Good evening, Becky. Welcome. Yeah, it's a challenge for any public organization today to try to make ends meet, right? Especially with a lot of factors out of your control. Something that I hear from folks, well, two things I hear from folks regularly is how fantastic the service is. I mean, you travel anywhere in this country and there's very few communities of Saugatuck size that has anything that even approaches this. So 45 years, I expect it to go another 45 years at least. The challenge there is to make it, cost effective. Something I've heard from people too is that whenever, like, we've had out of town visitors and they've taken the Interurban, because we said, take the Interurban, they're like, it's only $1. So the question is, I know we've got the $3 for the, probably the evening hours, we have to pay the shift differential to the drivers. Do you know when the last time the fare was changed, other than the $3?
No,
Okay.
it has never.
It's always been $1. I think at probably some point, that's gonna have to be something that's just gonna have to be revisited to realistically, and I think most people that I've talked to would have no qualms at all about paying $2 for a ride. And there may be some options to be able to provide discounts to, seniors or some other situation. So I very much understand where you are. I work in healthcare. We're dealing with some of the same constraints, billions of dollars. So it's a difficult and challenging period. Yeah, great job.
Chris?
Becky, that was a wonderful, positive statement that you just gave us.
Thank you.
We hear a lot about it from Gregory. He keeps us very well informed about everything that's going on and looking forward to the new parking committee that
Yes.
we're going to have. You are obviously an integral part of that. So we look forward to keeping a great relationship.
Yeah, and thank you for including me and giving me the opportunity to be part of that. I appreciate that.
Gregory?
And Becky, thank you for making my part of the meeting a little bit quicker, because when we get to boards, commissions and committees, I'm gonna pass because of you. I want you to remind folks, we know that we have shuttle service and parking at the high school, but I don't think a lot of folks know the other places in the community that we have the park and ride on-demand services. Can you tell us about those and maybe some of the things that we're gonna do to help educate folks, maybe get more signage out and?
Actually, the signs are being made today. I should have them tomorrow. So we are having some signs made to be put up by the high school parking lot in that area, stating when this parking lot is full, you know, please find parking at Douglas Elementary. It has the address. You know, you'll receive the same great service, free rides into town, into Saugatuck Douglas, and free rides back to your car. So those signs will be out. And we do have a sign up there, you know, Monday through Sunday as well, that people can park there as well and call and let us know they're there, and we'll pick them up and bring them in. So that's another parking off-site. And then the old Hayward site, we have a sign up there as well. Same thing. It's a park and ride. So just park your car, give us a call, and we'll get you into town.
Have you ever seen all of those lots full?
I have not. In fact, very few calls. We get very few calls from Douglas Elementary and Hayward.
Okay,
Those lots get used during the Halloween parade for sure.
sure. Yep. Thank you.
Great.
Very welcome.
Thanks so much, Becky. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Becky.
Thank
Thank you.
Becky.
And Joe, you won't have to follow Gregory now, so.
Thank you.
That takes us to the public comment on agenda items only. Anyone in the room wish to make a public comment? Anyone online wish to make a public comment? All right. We will move to item 9, the consent agenda. Can I get a motion, please?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to pass the consent agenda as stated on our city council meeting, July 14th, 2025.
Second,
Second.
any discussions or any discussion or questions?
Mayor Aston, just one, it's minor correction. The Centennial Parade was in 1968. I know those pictures are kind of hard to read. It said 1963, a small correction, but yeah, our Centennial was 1968. So.
All right, duly noted. Any other questions, comments? Okay, it's a roll call vote.
Anderson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Takes us to staff reports. Ryan, city manager's report. Anything else you want to stress or any questions for Ryan on his report? All right. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate your, it's a really good report. Any questions about the treasurer's report? We can take back to Nikki. Anything on the clerk's report? Anything on planning and zoning? DPW? You have a police report, anything on Mr. Moxie's? Yes.
Yes, Mayor Anderson, I'd like to ask if the manager could contact the deputy's office. Commissioner Lubbank, when he was here, I think last meeting, had mentioned that there's going to be some service cuts to the Marine unit. And subsequently, if you haven't been following the news on this, the reason why the state has not gotten that money is because the state has decided to has made a conscious decision to not accept the grant, because the grant includes language that requires them to participate in the immigration enforcement activities that the federal government's undertaking. So I think the total grant is $7.5 million, but the state and the Attorney General of the state of Michigan has enjoined with other state attorneys general to basically sue against that. So that's the reason why the grant money is available, but the state has chosen to not accept it. What I'm curious about is what, if any, changes are going to be made to the marine unit for the river and for the lake. They're high visibility and they may not be able to disclose everything that they plan to do to adjust to that, but I'd be curious to know. So if anybody's asking what changes they will have to make to, and it's going to affect the entire county, not just Sardic area. So I'd like to get some more information on that if you could.
Yeah, sure. I've had some correspondence with them, but I'm happy to follow up. You looking for more of a long-term?
Yeah, well, just for this season, in terms of what they anticipate, the service changes they're going to have to make in response to this
So
situation.
I think I can answer that at this
Great.
point with what they've, indicated. Essentially, yeah, because of the, the cutbacks and funding, that's, they don't necessarily have the dollars to backfill, and so they've had to reduce their hours. And with the reduction in hours, I think Sergeant Wagner has expressed some concerns with also, filling the spots that he has to then fill those shifts as well, and getting, and recruiting folks to work. So so it's kind of a double-edged sword that he's dealing with. I know I don't want to steal Chris's thunder for her.
Steal my thunder.
I
Oh,
won't.
I've got
Got some thunder during the her report that will kind of speak to enforcement and perhaps, and I've indicated to the sheriff's department, I met with the captain and Sergeant Haas, recently, and said, hey, if there's a need for more funding, or if there's a request for more funding, you're welcome to make that request to us, and we're, happy to at least consider it and see what, that cost would be for additional hours and support if they're even able to fill those shifts. So that's also something that they're at least aware of too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any questions on the engineering report? Okay, takes us to boards, commissions, and committees. Fire District Administration Board. Thank you for joining us, Dan.
Thank you for letting me join you. Dan Fox, the council representative to the Township Fire District. Before I start, I know this picture ran, and it's Scott Sullivan's wonderful newspaper. But I put it I put it up here again at the start of this because I thought it's sort of captured the festive spirit of the 4th of July and the rest of it. As you may know, there have been, I might count 3 fatalities in the last week and a half in or around here. 2 of them in the water, 1 of them in the lake, 1 of them over in Allegan at the dam. And then you count that a really wicked car accident on M40 early this morning. So it kind of never lets up. I was also going to say, again, before these comments, your comment, I take something from your comment on, because I heard the same thing, on the volunteer cars blocking. I don't know, 2-3 years ago, Fire District took a long look at parade safety and presented it here. Some things were acted upon, some not, some could be, some couldn't, whatever. The fire chief obviously and passionately prefers concrete barriers that will stop the kind of incidents that have become all too common. But short of that, volunteer blockers are a good thing. The dust up, and I don't know anymore, you probably know more from Facebook than I just heard second or third hand. But one of the comments we made when considering that possibility, the use of individual private owner vehicles, was getting magnetic banners, magnetic signs that can be reused time and time again. You only need 1 per vehicle in the direction facing where the traffic's coming from. It has the city logo on it or whatever and says parade safety. I think part of the problem is, civilians come up against civilians blocking the road. They don't see them as particularly authorized to do that. It's not a squad car. There's no lights on top. It's not a fire department vehicle or whatever. And it's a really, it's a cheap way to do it. So I don't know whether it's what is it? CVVB, their responsibility, or the city's, whatever. But it's, as I say, it's a step I think that could mitigate the kind of thing that happened there. You got a lot of comments. Okay, so our workshop meeting last week was canceled. for challenges on some of the people that needed to be there. So this is not reporting on a specific meeting. Our next fire board meeting, you're all welcome, 4 o'clock week from today. I sent you in advance, or Jamie was kind enough to forward. Please don't, Gregory, please don't sharpshoot me on all those numbers because I do not carry those in my head. But if you do have questions, any specific questions related to that 3-page report on all the statistics for the first half of the year, let me know. I can get the answers. I just don't carry them in my 78-year-old brain. But this, what's up here are the statistics just for the month of June. As you see, a record for the month of June, 127 incidents. The response time is, as you know, it moves around a little bit, but it's well within the range, actually down a little from last time. The only other thing really that EMS calls remain the largest share of our total calls. And Saugatuck at 22% of all the calls. That's been pretty constant. I think it was 21% the last time that I presented. Next one, please, Jamie. Excuse me. The incident locations, you can see the most dominated by those 61% EMS calls that are the blue little EMS symbol, which is hard to see as a symbol, but that's where most of them are. Pretty much, you know, if you look at, not surprisingly, if you look at geographically and try and find a concentration, they are both in downtown Douglas and downtown Saugatuck. Next one, please. The types of incidents, again, there's 63% medical assist and other, and all the way down the line. The total, next one, Jamie. These are the life, similar map for life. Although the colored dots here relate to the medical priority for each of the calls, red being most serious, yellow, which is, I don't think there are but a couple on there, and some of them beyond that part of the map. And then green for the lowest of the 3 priorities. And these are life's response times for the month of June. I had that piece blown up because it's hard to read the numbers at the bottom, but those are the averages for the 3 priorities. So overall, their compliance level, and that compliance level is with a goal set by Allegan County Medical Control, is a very respectable 84%. As you can see, they keep track the total number of transports, total number of requests, and the total number of transports. The reason the transport, I mean, there are other reasons, but the key reasons the number of transports is important is that's where they make their money. Transport is their primary revenue stream. They still receive revenue for, on the far right, where it says treated, where is it? Treated, yeah. Treated, no transport, the 15 number, there's still a billing there, but the key one is that 55. And I think Chief may have mentioned here, I don't know if he did or not, or at the meeting for the fire district's budget, we are in the process of still discussing with Life the possibility of some level of a subsidy for their service. They're transparent with their numbers, and if they can't make money here, they don't owe us anything. They can leave. So we certainly want, you know, we're not make them a star on the Forbes, you know, Fortune 500 or whatever, but we want them to be fairly compensated for what they do. The service, the responses we've heard, feedback from customers and whatever have been uniformly positive, extremely positive for Life. Good. Go ahead.
Could you explain, hi Dan, could you explain to me what the average, the 10, 17, 12, those are minutes, and is that for Saugatuck Township and Douglas? What is the average? Yeah, you got that.
All of these are their total numbers for our fire district, which includes the township and Douglas and Saugatuck.
That's the response time.
The
The average response time, is that?
Yes.
Question along the same line. So the overall compliance percentage of 84%, compliance with the, what is the SLA or service?
Allegan County Medical Control is the standard setter for EMS services, including their requirements for testing for the fire district's EMS personnel, requirements for life meeting the equipment standards, the training standards, personnel standards and whatever, they have those goals, they have their goals set for what they'd like those times to be.
Okay, so the overall compliance is a range of things that is complying with, not just the average response.
No, that it is, you can see across the bottom, each
Yep.
one of, each, the time response for, I can't make it any bigger, I don't think.
No, that's fine, Dan. I'm just trying to
But each
understand.
one of those numbers across the top and the bottom chart
Mhm.
is the response time in minutes
Right,
for each of the types of calls and for each incident thereof, so.
okay, so the compliance though is with, when we say 84% compliance with some standard, and that standard is 10 minutes?
You see the bars on the left?
Yeah. Yep, I can see it.
So the overall compliance number is an average or
Mhm.
taken together, those three bars together, including the 100 and the 85 and then whatever. That's how that's how they got to the 84%. That's how they get to the 80%. Make sense or not?
Do we want it to be higher? Should it be?
Always want it to be higher.
Okay,
We want our response time for the fire district to be lower too.
okay.
mean, but-
Has it gotten better over the years or?
These numbers are better than what and have since we've had life, we've got those numbers. They've been better. Marginally, but significantly better than we experienced with AMR.
Thank you.
And I can get you those if you want to see them. Not even sure what the next chart is. Maybe it's on there. But I don't think so. This is another thing the fire board is watching kind of carefully, primarily from a cost standpoint. These are the calls to Douglas Cove, the Nursing Rehabilitation Center. Which had, this happened for my time on the fire board, but it happened before they spiked. And don't want to be unkind, but when we get calls there, and we get plenty of them, that are, someone has fallen. Well, okay, they have equipment there. I'm there once a week. They have equipment there, hydraulic equipment to lift somebody up if they've fallen. So yeah, there could be a case where somebody hits their head or unconscious or whatever, but not every fall merits, an ambulance or one of the fire district vehicles with two people on board driving over there, going, whatever. And you can see June is, from our perspective, off the charts. So last time I think they were able to kind of solve this just by jawboning it, and we will certainly try that kind of a tactic this time, but it's too high. It's just too high. And as I say, those places staffed 24 hours. It isn't like they have one person there at night. They don't have full staff, but there are people there all night, and they're professionals, or at least some number of them are professionals. So next one, please. And this is a standard one I've shown you a number of times before, just for general purposes. Share of budget for Saugatuck, share of population census, Saugatuck in blue across the board, and share of call volume. Douglas is up on call volume this month, but those numbers move around as well. Next one, please. And then finally, as I started out with talking about the 4th, it was a very busy 4th for the fire district. These are 4th of July only calls. And I think I tried to get a quick count on my own. I've got this on my cell phone. For the 4-day weekend, 20 or 21 overall calls, which is a lot of calls for us. A lot of time and a lot of expense and a lot of wearing on the personnel. So I think that's it. Do you have any questions on it? Yes, go ahead.
Was that from midnight, the fourth till?
That was any, you can see the times on there.
Right.
That was, yes, it was any 7-4 identified call.
24-hour period. Thank you.
And the 20 go, all the way up to Sunday at the same time.
Gregory?
Thank you for all of this, Dan. I really appreciate the time that you take to bring this to us. And I appreciate the email too, as I've said before. And I'd like to have even this information here before the meeting. That way, if I have any questions, I can have them ready. And I don't want to sharpshoot you, and I don't want to feel discouraged to ask a question when I see a question. But I do was just wondering, when you sent us the incident report, the total incidences in 2025, and under cardiac arrest and then motor vehicle incident. The cardiac arrest is saying a 71% decrease for 2025, and the motor vehicle incident overview is saying a 62.2% decrease from the year prior. Are these numbers where we are now, just half the year, and you're giving the percentage for the whole year?
Yeah,
Or is that,
That's
okay, so we could probably expect them to, if they're going on course, it might be maybe double, right?
Oh, for example,
If it was
motor
going to the average, right?
motor vehicle incidents, there's no holiday in there.
Uh-huh,
So we got all 3 holidays, which are
right.
be motor vehicle sensitive as well. So
So that's not really a 62% decrease. We'll know at the end of the year what the real
60%
decrease
from
or
something.
increase would be.
You got to compare to something. You wouldn't want to compare 6 months to a full year.
Oh, right. I just want to make sure that, yeah,
That was the question. You're doing 6 months to 6 months, not 6 months to a year.
Absolutely.
right. Okay. I just want to make sure that 62.2% decrease,
There was
Was-
another part.
that was for the previous 6 months?
The 6 months that you got in the 3-page is for January through June,
Yeah, I'm looking
this
at.
6 months.
Uh-huh.
Compared to January,
Okay.
June last year.
Yes, it's compared to the same period.
It's
last
year over year for a 6-month period.
So the last 6 months, there was a 71% decrease from 2024 with cardiac arrest
Yeah,
incidences.
and I will.
Oh, that's great.
I don't
That's-
keep, well, I'm keeping my head, cardiac arrest is not a big number to individually is not a big number to begin with.
Right.
So, I'm just gonna speculate, if they're down 3, it could yield a percent decrease that's pretty substantial.
Right,
Because the
but
base is low.
about motor vehicle incidences, that they've been down 62.2% in the last 6 months. I think that's a great decrease.
We also had an easier winter this year
Okay.
than the prior year. So there's some of that, I'm sure.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Great. Anything else?
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. All right, well, are we really skipping interurban, Gregory?
Yes, ma'am, and thank you, Becky. She probably said everything I was going to.
Okay, well, Joe, your turn for Cal Lake.
Well, not following Gregory. Not a lot to report. We have a meeting coming up Monday. So I have more information there, but one just kind of heads up, there is a vote coming up to unionize the employees at Cal Lake. And, it's just more informational. There's not a lot of information out there, but that vote will happen on the 17th, so later this week. And, hope to have more information on the outcome of that after our board meeting on Monday. So that's about all I had. Yep, please.
Yeah, question regarding the unionization. Would that include the manager or the director as well?
So I understand it is just the staff.
I should know the answer to this, but I don't. Is that common among water departments?
I don't know the answer to
Okay,
that,
nor do I, so.
but I do know that the union did approach the employees. It wasn't the other way around, and
The union approached them.
Right.
Do you know what the name of the union was? Was it, some of them have combined is why I'm curious.
yeah, don't have it. I'll get it to you though. if you-
No worries.
Other questions for Joe? Okay.
I think, by the way,
Oh.
it's important to just throw this cautionary, obviously, no discussions with any employees regarding this. We
Right.
can't have any appearance that we're trying to coerce them in any way, shape or form, nor do we want to do that. So,
Mhm.
Yep. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna do a little drum roll. Chris?
Finally, long lasting. Here we go. Okay, so it was a nice meeting. Lots of things discussed. The first discussion to talk about had to do with the no wake zone. And there was general agreement to not change that and not to have any expansion. And that came from the township and Douglas, and I said our board was pretty split, so I wouldn't take it one way or another. But the first agreement that everybody agreed on was more enforcement was needed. And so a letter's being drafted to go to both the sheriff and the county commissioners. But there was discussion eventually that we might have to put our own money into it if we want to have more enforcement to deal with the wake issues. They also, we wanted to have better signage. Nobody knew who put the red buoys out. Do we know? No, nobody knew. But they did agree, we all talked about when they hit the bridge, they just take off. And so the discussion was have great big signs on each side of the bridge saying, wait, slow wake zone. Kathy North, the mayor, said Douglas would do it. Absolutely. I said I have to take it to the council to see if they're interested in doing that. But we would try to have the same type of sign on each side because most of those guys are boaters and they felt that people needed to be reminded of it, that you can't just go under the bridge and take off. So that was what was done. And so we're going to look at, probably have to put it on the agenda sometime to get funds for that, maybe at a workshop and see what Douglas is going to do. I'm sure she said they'd do it, but I don't know if she had to take it to her board. So then Greg Wycamp was there, which was interesting because I was actually mayor, I think, when he did the report back in 2013, and he said it's the exact same situation again. We got low water. And he talked about several of the issues that were coming up. Hazinga said that there were several millions of dollars given out to different communities, one of which was Holland, but reminded us that it was recreational versus commercial, which we do not have. So they usually do a 4 to 5 year rotation. And Ryan did meet with the Army Corps. Do you want to tell him about that?
Yeah, Daniel and I met with the Army Corps a while back now, but to kind of talk about, hey, are we at least on your radar for even as a recreational harbor for you to have us plugged into the schedule? And they assured us that they do kind of on a 4 to 5 year rotation, but obviously it's all funding dependent and what they can get through, Congress and that sort of thing. But they did include us in their next round of funding to do some sediment testing and kind of take a look at where we're at with contamination levels. So that's a positive.
Then we also talked about getting funding to do any type of dredging. The Michigan Waterways Commission is probably the best way to get grants through that. And the possibility we might be able to get something that had to do with transient boating. And also there's a chance that the low water can affect the sturgeon and the wildlife. And Greg is going to go to the meeting in December in Lansing to look for other opportunities. Everybody wanted to get the soil testing. That was something. And apparently Dr. Bob, and I cannot remember his last name, has been doing continual soil testing out there. So I think Kathy North was going to look in to get the testing for that to get an idea. To do dredging, you have to do the assessment, and before the county had paid for that, but then it falls into the dollars for dredging, and the actual big impact has to do with where you put the contaminated things. And it was like deja vu because we went back and talked about the islands in the middle of Wade's Bayou, and Eagle at the time said, no, you can't do that. But now because of the low water and the fact that the vegetation is taking over and impairing the waterways, now there might be a chance we could do that. He said the best chance we have for dredging is the Superfund site. I suggested we get an attorney and do it on a contingency basis and go after the paper companies. But he said that best chance for any money to come in here for dredging is Superfund. We're not going to find it anywhere else. So is that pretty close? Then I think that was all we had. Oh, yeah. The last thing was we want to bring the rooster back. Everybody wanted to make sure that people knew how shallow that water was out there. And somebody brought that up and I said, yeah, there was a rooster out there. I have a picture of my daughter standing next to it. It's in the rooster's in the pole barn. Anyway, that was the one thing, the signage and letting people know how shallow it is out there. Greg is going to keep us informed of any type of money coming our way for possible help with dredging and assessments of the sediment. And we'll have the next meeting in September, I think.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Thanks, Chris.
Just a comment.
Yep.
The funding may have already been deployed, but there was a fairly large settlement with EPA and the NCR company, paper company. And there was at one point funding for restoration projects along the river. That may have all been allocated, but
That was several years ago. That's what Mary
Yeah.
Whiteford came to us to
Yes.
get a letter to go because they kept saying, this is your last suck at the pump. This is the only way you're going to get any money from the paper
Got it.
company.
okay.
And we got nothing from that. So again, Greg said, best chance of Superfund money.
Mm.
And by the time we get down to here, there might not be any left. So we maybe want to think about striking when the fire's still going. So.
Chris, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. A great report, Councilmember Peterson. So back on the no wake zone, so the township and the village of Douglas have taken the position that no changes are,
Nope, no change, no expansion. It was split half and half and they didn't want to move forward on it.
so does that require that the city, because the formal request came to all three municipalities, do we need to take any action on the request that we received from sergeants, or what's kind of the next steps here?
Yeah, I think what Councilmember Peterson is indicating, the board representation on the Cal Lake Harbor authorities indicated that there was a split, not the Douglas City Council necessarily. So I'm not sure where their council stands. So, but
The split was us, our council is split on the no wake zone. I was under the impression that Douglas and the township were all in agreement. Maybe I misread that.
Yeah, I don't think that the council in Douglas has made any formal
Decision.
decisions. Yeah,
Okay.
I think, certainly there wasn't a consensus from the harbor authority to make recommend any changes to you.
Right.
So either your next workshop, maybe the first in August, I think I have it calendar on the schedule depending on what it's looking like, but would be an opportunity for you to review the survey results and then have some further discussion about what, if any, action you want to take from here. And we did have some correspondence staff did with Sergeant Wagner with the Marine unit today about that signage on the bridge. And then he kind of added some additional,
Concerns.
yeah, concerns and really feedback that, he's not necessarily, suggesting that we go the route of a complete no wake zone for the entire lake. Not to say that you couldn't still, do something different, whether it's expanded no wake zones or restricted hours or boat lengths and those sorts of discussions that you had previously as well. But all that to say, basically, we'll have an opportunity for you all to have more discussion and make a determination whether or not you want to continue to discuss it, move forward, or if you want to kind of leave it be for now.
Okay, thank you. And so ultimately, though, if my understanding is correct, is that the village, the township, and the city have to align on this because we can't make a different decision than,
So,
right?
Well, yes and no. So the township, not necessarily, because they don't have jurisdiction within the lake. If you were to wanted to make the entire lake no wake, then certainly Douglas would have to agree to that. If you wanted to have a lake, the whole lake restricted as far as, the types of boats or the length of boats that could be going slow no wake or the times that they could do that, that would be wise to have, both Douglas and the city agree to that because it would impact the entire lake. Now, if you just simply wanted to expand the slow no wake area around Sargent Marina, well, that's within the boundaries of the city of Saugatuck, and that's something that you could choose to, move forward if just you wanted to work on that.
Thank you.
Mayor North was there. Also, Jerry Donovan was there. So, and I was under the impression that they had talked to their board and they were not wanting to move forward with changes for expansion, but maybe I've misunderstood that.
And I may have as well. So that may be very well maybe the case. So
Thank you.
I can clarify with
Yeah.
the Douglas manager if you'd like.
Because if the harbor authority is going to make a recommendation but have no authority from their boards to do it, again, I go back to why do we have harbor authority? Be that as it may. Joe?
Yeah, thank you again for that report. That was really great. But I do have a question. So Harbor's leaning towards essentially not changing the no wake zone, but instead wants to improve enforcement. So the improving enforcement, though, is not going to have any effect on the no wake, correct? What's the goal of trying to improve enforcement is my first question. What's trying to be, is it because there are violations outside of the no wake that you're trying to address, or?
Yes.
That's what it is?
Yes, too many people going too fast where they shouldn't be going too fast.
Gotcha.
And that was it.
Okay. And do we know why it's not being, why there's such little enforcement?
I
I
think
mean, we know
it's
now
back
that
to
there's funding
funding.
issues, but there, it's never really been enforced, correct?
Well, and there's different ones that could be out there in the water and it's just never been enforced that much. And my understanding is also they have to have so much time that is available for them when they have to go out and do search and rescue things. A lot of it has to do with the hours that they can spend on the water. So, but again, it was pretty much what the Harbor Authority talked about, was just the way the actual survey came out. Half and half, but people thought things should be more, there should be more enforcement on the water.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
This is, Mayor, this is purely anecdotal, but just based on feedback from other boaters on Saturday. Whoever the Marine officer was that Saturday was being very, I won't use the word other boaters were using, but very diligent in enforcing no wake. So yeah, a lot of, not me, but a lot of folks were getting informed about their wakes.
Good.
From what I heard from a sizable number of people, way more than I normally hear. So, yeah.
Good.
So, part of it may be, once again, like parking in town, it may just be, a word with the sheriff's department saying, we appreciate this, or we would like to see more of this, or, sometimes it's as simple as that.
It's good to see that that can be a detriment then to the wakes.
Yeah, I mean, this is all anecdotal from various people that were out boating, but.
Great, thanks. There hasn't been a ZBA meeting. Russ, Historic District?
Yes, thank you. We met last Thursday, the 10th. We actually met a week later than we normally would have just because of the 4th of July holiday. We had a pretty straightforward agenda, 145 Grant Street for landscaping that's up on Grant Street, if you know where Grant Street is. There's the quiz, there's a council quiz of the evening. Do you know where Grant Street is?
By Moffett,
I'm sorry?
Brandon Moffett.
No,
Well, that's
not Grant. Grant's literally a one block street between Holland and Elizabeth. As you go up and you go out of the street.
We
City on
went on
Holland,
that street.
very small street there. And as a matter of fact, our fire district representative lives on that street.
Yep.
They came to us with a proposal for landscaping, and the reason why we were looking at this is because it involved a fair amount of work behind the house, but it's interesting, these are new residents of Saugatuck. And they've moved to the big city from Hamilton. So I said, you're moving west. So anyway, they're very gracious, and they did a great job preparing for the application. So second one was for the pink patio. We approved a request 7-0 to allow them to replace their windows at the pink patio. The one that we spent probably quite a bit, probably the most time on, was for 234 Spear Street, which is actually a home right across the street from mine. And the application was tabled. We're looking at probably having a special meeting to reconsider the application on July 31st. Excuse me, and the reason why the application was tabled was because there's some concerns from the commissioners about the massing of the proposed changes to the house. If you're not familiar with the house, it's 234 Spear Street. It's the yellow house. It's kitty corner from my house. And that block is all of the structures on that block, with the exception of this house, are considered to be contributing structures, which we had some conversation about that too, because it's kind of surprising that house is not on that list. But neither here nor there. The architect was here. The owner of the house was here. Talked a little bit about what the concerns were over this, and so they're gonna come back presumably on the 31st with a resubmitted application regarding some of the concerns that the commission had. So I thought it was those are always kind of difficult situations, because all the applicants in town don't all live here, but some of them are our neighbors, and these happen to be my neighbors, and that's always kind of a challenge, right, to be objective. And so we read through the standards so they can understand exactly what we apply to their application to keep it as objective as we possibly can. So I think we did a pretty good job. It's a good commission. We were objective in terms of this situation, so we'll see when they come back with their application. The other topic was, it's been discussed to replace the Saugatuck Historic District signs, of which there are two. When you come in the south side on Lake Street, and there's one on Holland. I believe those are original to when the district was first established in 1984, I think, I mean, give or take a year. So those signs are 40+ years old. And they're not really very reflective of what the pride in our historic district are in the town. So the commission is beginning to discuss replacement of those signs. So there's going to be some money involved, and I just bring that up to council because the Historic District Commission doesn't spend much money. I mean, we haven't spent much money other than we have city staff, of course, and we have David Jurassic who advises us. But I told them that I don't think the council would have any issues with the Historic District proposing some replacement of those signs. So I just want to put that on everybody's radar. So that'll be coming here hopefully in the near future. And that was the extent of it.
Chris?
Aren't
Yeah.
those signs historic?
Well, yeah, I made the same comment. Those are historic, so we'll have to be careful. It's time for those to be refreshed. So when you come into town, take a look at them. They're the old,
Green.
no, they're brown, the old brown, and yeah, they're pretty bad shape. So they've served their purpose, and we're gonna look at some changes. So now it's extent. Any questions?
Great.
No?
Thanks, Joe. Planning?
Special meeting Wednesday to focus mainly on master planning, goals to try and get our first outreach to the community done, which will be the survey. So we'll be drilling in on the questions at that point in time, and I think that's about it.
Great.
Joe, will we have a chance to look at those questions here on council before that survey goes
I
out?
think you should.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make sure that happens.
Thank you.
Parks and Public Works?
We meet again July 22nd.
Great. Anything new on the trail? Scott?
Well, it's in the manager's report, but bears repeating. We are setting up with MDOT, a meeting to go over the initial tribal feedback and looking for the on-site assessment by the tribe to happen next month.
Great. Water system operations contract?
No updates this month. We had met last month and yep.
Still working on it.
Yep.
A long drawn out process.
And finally, the Wildlife Management Committee, anything new?
Just remind everybody of a couple dates. Archery season starts October 1st, runs through November 14th, and then the winter archery season runs from December 1st through January 1st, 2026.
Is the question, is the committee done with their task or is there more to do?
We have not met since the last time we discussed it. I have no output from any of the meetings from the township or the
Oh, okay.
or Douglas on what actions they've taken. But thanks, I will be following up with them to see what they're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay, that takes us to approval of accounts payable. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable in the amount of $724,570.94.
I'll second. And I do have a question.
Yes.
This item 28, $273,000. It's Michigan Cat. It says parts. I'm assuming it's the new vehicle or the new piece of equipment, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that's the new loader.
So
Yep.
staff's not getting the parts. They're not going to build it themselves.
The council's gonna build it.
Yeah, right.
After we make a sign.
After we do the sign, we'll
right.
put together a front end loader. I mean, it'll be easy for us, won't it?
We'll YouTube it.
Oh, exactly.
Questions, Russ?
Yeah, Mayor Anderson, thank you. I was just gonna ask the same question. Thank you very much. So that was 37.7% of our total expenditure for this period. Most of the other expenses are pretty, well, they're actually pass-throughs for tax collections that the city does. The one item, though, that I did want to ask about is Granicus for 19K. Is that an annual amount?
Correct.
Okay. I would like to see if we can maybe get some information from them. We've been with them for a year, right? Do they have a plan, or can we ask them to present to us kind of what their experience has been over the past 12 months, kind of the pluses, minuses, kind of what they've seen? Just so we can kind of get a sense what the investment is returning for us and for our short-term rental owners as well as our taxpayers.
Would more so be on the staff side, I think, to kind of present how the tool's been effective for us. We just met with Granicus last week, a couple weeks ago, to kind of talk about how things are going and talk about both modules and but yeah, I can touch base with Luke to see if we can get something put together to
Yes.
perspective
I
and
think that's a good idea to get a report of what's coming in and,
Yeah,
you know, how it's being handled.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we need a roll call vote. Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Takes us to new business, 14A, which is on page 62, the interior renovations at City Hall. We talked about this at the workshop. Are there other questions, or Ryan, anything else you wanted to add?
Nothing further from staff, Mayor.
Again,
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Great, thanks.
Motion to approve the proposal from Fleece and Vanderbrink for a needs study, conceptual design, and structural evaluation for City Hall interior renovations.
A second?
Questions or discussion before we vote? All right, it's a roll call vote.
Anderson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Takes us to creation of a parking improvements task force and request for proposals for consulting support on page 66. You get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'll like to make a motion to create an advisory parking improvements task force as outlined in the staff memo and issue a request for proposals for consulting services for a parking study and solutions as presented.
Second.
Any questions or discussion before we vote?
Yeah,
Russ?
just, thank you. A couple questions. One is in governance. And the reason I mentioned that is I want to make sure that this is a task force, like we have with the short-term rental task force, which did not do this. I think it's important for us to have governance so we can decide who's going to chair, who's going to, be the vice chair, that kind of an approach, so people know exactly who's doing this. And I would suggest that based on our normal experience with council is that the council member representative does not sit in one of the leadership chairs, is there to advise and bring information back to us as the governing body. So I just put that out there in terms of organization as that gets going. Two is it's a good proposal. I think it leaned a little heavily on what the solutions might look like until we define the problem. I think it's a little premature to decide what we might be looking at solution-wise. If you Google parking task force, if you Google anything to do with city parking, you'll find, there's literally hundreds of these that have been completed in other communities. And the one takeaway that I have from this is what is the problem? And I think that's going to be important to have the task force, once it's formed, to define what the actual problem is. Is it insufficient parking spaces? Is it inadequate infrastructure? Is it parking management issues, or perhaps something else? So I think that's critical in order to be able to slot in the solutions that have been defined. So I would suggest that's really where I would like to see the consultant once that's hired. And I would expect they would do this, is, okay, what exactly is the problem?
Yep.
And start there.
Yeah, both the RFP and the setup for it. One of the initial bullet points, and I agree with you, Russ, is to identify and define the problem and concern. So I feel confident how these materials are structured, that will be clear to everybody. Anything else? All right, it's a roll call vote.
Anderson,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, that takes us to our second public comment period. This can be about anything. We don't have anyone in the room to comment. Did anyone online wish to make a comment? Raise your hand if so. All right, I don't see any. That takes us to our closed session. Can I get a motion, Chris?
Yes, Madam Mayor, a motion to move into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268D to consider the purchase or lease of real property.
Second.
Stanton second. And it is a roll call vote.
Anderson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, we will go into closed session. Thanks to everybody on Zoom. We will be put in a